When changing lanes, you can check your blind spot by A. Using the inside rearview mirror. B. Turning your head and looking over your shoulder. C. Using your side mirror. B. Turning your head and looking over your shoulder. Even if your vehicle is properly equipped with mirrors, there are blind spots that cannot be seen by using the mirrors. Before changing lanes, look over your shoulder to check these areas. To see vehicles in your blind spots, you should check A. The inside rearview mirror. B. The outside rearview mirror. C. Over your shoulders. C. Over your shoulders. By definition, blind spots are areas that cannot be seen using your mirrors. To check your blind spots, you should look over your shoulders. When a school bus is stopped ahead on your side of the road with its red lights flashing, you must A. Slow to a speed no faster than 10 miles per hour. B. Stop until the lights stop flashing. C. Change lanes and pass cautiously. B. Stop until the lights stop flashing. The flashing overhead lights and stop arm on a school bus will be activated when the bus is stopped to load or unload students. If approaching a bus using these signals, you may not proceed until the red lights have stopped flashing and the stop arm has been retracted. Never pass a school bus that is dropping off or picking up students. This sign means A. Merge. B. Winding road ahead. C. Reserved parking for persons with disabilities. A. Merge. This sign warns that two lanes of traffic going the same direction will soon merge into one lane.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
Streets and highways are most slippery. A. When it has been raining hard for several hours. B. When they are clean and dry. C. Just after it starts to rain. C. Just after it starts to rain. Driving during the first half hour of rainfall is dangerous because roadways become extremely slippery when the water mixes with oil and other chemicals on the road surfaces that have not yet washed away. Use extra caution when driving on slippery roads. At dawn or dusk and in rain or snow, it can be hard to see and be seen. A good way to let other drivers know you are there is to turn A. Up the instrumental panel lights. B. On your parking lights. C. On your headlights. C. On your headlights. You must use your headlights at any time when conditions prevent you from seeing other vehicles and when it may be difficult for other drivers to see you. Always use your low-beam headlights if weather conditions require you to use your windshield wipers. What does this road sign mean? A. Be ready to merge with traffic entering your lane. B. Always stop. C. Divided highway ahead. A. Be ready to merge with traffic entering your lane. Warning signs are usually yellow with black markings. This sign warns that merging traffic will be entering from the right, so drivers should prepare to allow the incoming traffic to safely merge. You are involved in a minor collision at an intersection. There are no injuries and there is very little vehicle damage. You should A. Leave your vehicle in the traffic lane until law enforcement arrives. B. Move your vehicle out of the traffic lane, if possible. C. Not move your vehicle for any reason. B. Move your vehicle out of the traffic lane, if possible. After a collision, if no one has been injured or killed and you can safely do so, you should move your vehicle out of the traffic lane. Just like alcohol and other drugs, drowsiness can A. Help you to be a better driver. B. Make you feel better. C. Impair your judgment. C. Impair your judgment. Not getting enough sleep is a cause of poor driving behavior. Just like drugs and alcohol, sleepiness slows reaction time, decreases awareness, and impairs judgment. If you have an argument with another person and you are angry, you should A. Loudly play the radio while driving so you won't think about your argument. B. Take a few minutes to cool off before driving. C. Drive on the interstate to let off steam. B. Take a few minutes to cool off before driving. Your emotions affect your ability to drive safely. If you are overly angry, excited, afraid, worried, or depressed, you should give yourself time to calm down before operating a vehicle. You need to be able to mentally focus on driving without thinking about the things that made you upset. This sign means A. Divided highway. B. Railroad warning. C. No passing zone. A. Divided highway. This sign indicates that a divided highway begins ahead. At an intersection with a yield sign, you A. must yield the right of way to cross traffic that is close enough to cause conflict. B. Must yield to vehicles only on your right. C. Should slow down but never stop. A. Must yield the right of way to cross traffic that is close enough to cause conflict. When approaching a yield sign, drivers must give the right of way to traffic already in the lanes that they intend to enter or cross. Drivers should be prepared to stop when approaching a yield sign but may continue without stopping if there is no conflicting traffic. You may pass a vehicle when A. You are on a hill or curve. B. You are on a road with a solid line next to your lane. C. You are on a road with a broken line next to your lane. C. You are on a road with a broken line next to your lane. A single broken line indicates that drivers may cross from either lane to change lanes. Dashed yellow lines alongside solid yellow lines indicate that passing is permitted from the lane next to the broken line, but not from the lane next to the solid line. Only change lanes when it is safe to do so. You are approaching an intersection with a steady yellow traffic light. If you have not already entered the intersection, you should A. Speed up to beat the red light. B. Reduce your speed and proceed carefully through the intersection. C. Come to a safe stop. C. Come to a safe stop. When a steady yellow light appears on a traffic signal, you should prepare to stop. If you are already within the intersection, you should clear the intersection as quickly as possible. If you have trouble seeing other vehicles because of dust or smoke blowing across the roadway, you should drive more slowly and turn on your A. Emergency flashers. B. Parking lights. C. Headlights. C. Headlights. You must turn on your headlights anytime conditions prevent you from seeing other vehicles. Other drivers may have trouble seeing you, too. Highway pavement will be particularly treacherous and most slippery. A. If it has been raining several hours. B. If it has just begun to rain. C. If it has been raining for 1 to 2 hours. B. If it has just begun to rain. Pavement is particularly treacherous when it first begins to rain. Accumulations of dirt and oil mix with the rainwater, creating a greasy film on the roadway. When approaching a roundabout, you should always A. Increase your speed. B. Maintain your speed. C. Decrease your speed. C. Decrease your speed. When approaching a roundabout, slow down. A roundabout is designed to be driven at a low speed. When driving in fog, it is best to drive with A. High beam headlights. B. Low beam headlights. C. Four-way flashers. B. Low beam headlights. Use low beam headlights when driving in fog, rain, or snow. High beams may reflect off of the weather and make visibility even poorer. This sign means A. Pedestrians walking along the road ahead. B. Pedestrian crossing ahead. C. Pedestrians must not cross here. B. Pedestrian crossing ahead. Warning signs are usually yellow with black markings. This sign alerts drivers to where pedestrians may be crossing. If a pedestrian is crossing in a crosswalk marked with this sign, drivers must stop and remain stopped until the pedestrian is no longer in the crosswalk. What should you do when you see this sign? A. Look for a train station ahead. B. Signal before going any further. C. Slow down and yield to trains. C. Slow down and yield to trains. A round sign means you are approaching a railroad crossing. This sign is posted a few hundred feet in front of the tracks and tells drivers to slow down, look, listen, and prepare to stop. You are crossing an intersection and an emergency vehicle is approaching while using its siren and flashing lights. You should A. Stop immediately in the intersection until it passes. B. Pull to the right of the intersection and stop. C. Continue through the intersection, pull to the right, and stop. C. Continue through the intersection, pull to the right, and stop. If you are in an intersection when you see an emergency vehicle approaching while using its flashing lights and/or siren, continue through the intersection and then drive to the right and stop. You must yield the right of way to any police vehicle, fire engine, ambulance, or other emergency vehicle using a siren or flashing lights. This sign means A. Change in direction or narrowing of roadway. B. No right turn. C. No passing zone. A. Change in direction or narrowing of roadway. This sign warns a driver of a change in direction or a narrowing of the road. A driver may find several of these signs on the outside of a sharp curve or on approaches to a narrow bridge. This red and white sign means you should A. Stop and check for traffic coming from both directions before proceeding. B. Give the right of way to traffic on the road you wish to enter or cross. C. Maintain a steady speed and check for traffic coming from all directions. B. Give the right of way to traffic on the road you wish to enter or cross. A three-sided yield sign indicates that you must slow down and be ready to stop, if necessary, to let any vehicle, bicyclist, or pedestrian pass before you proceed. In this case, you do not have the right of way. At a school crossing sign, you should A. Always stop, whether there is a stop sign or not. B. Watch for children and be ready to stop. C. Always sound your horn when you see children. B. Watch for children and be ready to stop. Pentagonal signs mean you are approaching a school zone and/or school crossing. When you see these signs, be alert and prepare to stop. This road sign means A. Intersection ahead. B. Merging traffic. C. Steep hill ahead. C. Steep hill ahead. Warning signs provide notice to road users of a situation that might not be readily apparent and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign warns drivers of an upcoming steep hill. Drivers should adjust their speed accordingly to avoid collisions and brake damage. When driving at night on a dimly lit street, you should A. Drive slowly enough that you can stop within the area illuminated by your headlights. B. Turn on your high beam headlights to better see the vehicles ahead of you. C. Keep the instrument panel lights bright to be more visible to other drivers. A. Drive slowly enough that you can stop within the area illuminated by your headlights. You should drive more slowly at night than during the day because it is not possible to see as far ahead at night. You should make sure that you can stop within the area illuminated by your headlights. This sign is a warning that you are approaching A. An intersection. B. A crosswalk. C. A railroad crossing. C. A railroad crossing. A round sign means you are approaching a railroad crossing. This sign is posted a few hundred feet in front of the tracks and tells drivers to slow down, look, listen, and prepare to stop. If you are driving and you see animals standing near the roadway, A. Speed up to scare them away. B. Slow down and proceed with caution. C. Quickly swerve into the next lane. B. Slow down and proceed with caution. Slow down and proceed with caution if you see animals that are standing near the roadway. They may unexpectedly bolt or change direction at the last moment. Some animals travel in packs, so there may be more animals just out of sight that are also near the road. Distracted driving is A. Anything that causes evasive action while driving. B. Anything that takes your attention away from driving. C. Anything that causes you to pay more attention to driving. B. Anything that takes your attention away from driving. The term, distracted driving, refers to driving while anything takes your eyes, hands, or mind away from the task at hand. Distracted driving is the most common contributing factor to reported traffic collisions. Distractions of any sort cause drivers to miss key visual and audio cues needed to avoid a crash. Which of these statements is true about changing lanes? A. You only need to turn and look over your right shoulder for lane changes to the right or left. B. Look over your right shoulder for a right lane change and your left shoulder for a left lane change. C. Vehicles with two outside mirrors do not have blind spots. B. Look over your right shoulder for a right lane change and your left shoulder for a left lane change. Before changing lanes, signal, look in all your mirrors, and look over your left or right shoulder to make sure the lane next to you is clear. Looking over your shoulder as a way to check your blind spot to be sure there is no vehicle, motorcycle, or bicycle traffic in the next lane. What can speed along the process of alcohol leaving a person's system? A. Nothing. Only time will allow all alcohol to leave a person's system. B. Taking a cold shower. C. Eating a large meal. A. Nothing. Only time will allow all alcohol to leave a person's system. Approximately 90% of the alcohol in a person's body is eliminated by the liver. Alcohol is removed from the body at a rate of about 1 drink per hour. Nothing will speed up this process. If you are continually being passed on the right and the left while driving in the center lane of an expressway, you should A. Stay in the center lane. B. Move to the lane on your right. C. Move to the lane on your left. B. Move to the lane on your right. If a road has 4 or more lanes with two-way traffic, drive in the right lanes unless you are passing or turning left. If you are on an interstate highway and are driving below the speed of the flow of traffic, use the right lane. If you park facing uphill on a street with a curb, set the parking brake and A. Turn the front wheels toward the curb. B. Turn the front wheels away from the curb. C. Leave the front wheels straight. B. Turn the front wheels away from the curb. When parking uphill on a road that has a curb, your wheels should be turned away from the curb. When parking uphill on a street without a curb or when parking downhill, your wheels should be turned toward the curb or edge of the road. A pedestrian starts to cross the street after the "Don't walk" signal begins to flash. The pedestrian is in the middle of the street when your signal light changes to green. You should A. Proceed if you have the right of way. B. Proceed if the pedestrian is not in your lane. C. Wait until the pedestrian crosses the street before proceeding. C. Wait until the pedestrian crosses the street before proceeding. At a green light, you must give the right of way to any vehicle, bicyclist, or pedestrian in the intersection. If a pedestrian begins crossing the street after the traffic signal light starts flashing, wait until they have crossed the street before proceeding. This sign means A. Do not drink and drive. B. Slippery when wet. C. Road curves ahead. B. Slippery when wet. Warning signs are usually yellow with black markings. They alert you to conditions that are immediately ahead. This sign warns that the roadway is slippery when wet. When parking your vehicle on any hill, A. One of your rear wheels should touch the curb. B. Use your parking brake and leave the vehicle in park. C. Your front wheels should be parallel to the road, if there is no curb. B. Use your parking brake and leave the vehicle in park. When parking on a hill, you should always leave your vehicle in gear or in the park position. If there is no curb, you should turn your front wheels so that the vehicle will roll away from the center of the road if the brakes fail. If there is a curb, The front wheels should be turned toward it, if headed downhill, or away from and gently touching it, if headed uphill. When driving on the highway, consistently looking far ahead of your vehicle. A. Helps you keep up with traffic. B. Reduces the need for last-minute braking or turning. C. Allows you to spot upcoming police officers. B. Reduces the need for last-minute braking or turning. To avoid the need for last-minute braking or turning, consistently watch the road far ahead of your vehicle. By looking ahead and being ready to stop or change lanes if needed, you can drive more safely, save fuel, and help keep traffic moving at a steady pace. To avoid glare from the headlights of an approaching car. A. Look briefly toward the right side of the road. B. Stay focused on the centerline on the road. C. Flash your high beams. A. Look briefly toward the right side of the road. You should avoid looking toward the bright lights of an oncoming vehicle by glancing toward the right side of the road. After looking briefly toward the side of the road, continue looking ahead to check on the position of the other vehicle. When traveling at high speeds, drivers should signal, fill in the blank, before changing lanes or turning. A. 1 second. B. 2 to 3 seconds. C. 4 to 5 seconds. C. 4 to 5 seconds. Drivers are required to use turn signals before changing lanes or turning. When traveling at high speeds, you should signal 4 to 5 seconds prior to a turn or lane change. When driving at night, you should A. Always use your high beams. B. Look directly at the headlights of an oncoming vehicle. C. Increase your following distance. C. Increase your following distance. Driving at night is more hazardous than daytime driving because the lowered visibility makes it difficult to judge speed, distances, and other potential hazards. Increase your following distance to help prevent a potential collision if the vehicle in front of you should stop abruptly. Use your headlights when driving at night, following the rules for proper usage of high beams and low beams. You drive defensively when you A. Put one car length between you and the car ahead. B. Look only at the car in front of you while driving. C. Keep your eyes moving to look for possible hazards. C. Keep your eyes moving to look for possible hazards. You are driving defensively when you are looking down the road for potential hazards. Constantly staring at the road directly in front of your vehicle is dangerous. As you scan ahead, be alert to vehicles around you. If your wheels drop off the roadway or pavement edge, you should A. Wait until it is safe to do so, then gradually re-enter the roadway. B. Turn back onto the roadway immediately. C. Stop. A. Wait until it is safe to do so, then gradually re-enter the roadway. If your wheels drop off the roadway or pavement edge, do not attempt to turn back onto the roadway immediately. Instead, reduce your speed, check traffic, and gradually turn back onto the roadway when it is safe to do so. When a car with bright headlights drives toward you at night, you should A. Stop until the other driver passes. B. Look below their headlights. C. Glance toward the right edge of your lane. C. Glance toward the right edge of your lane. To avoid being blinded when driving at night, do not look directly at the headlights of oncoming cars. Instead, look toward the right edge of the road until the oncoming driver has passed. This sign means A. Merge right. B. Divided highway begins. C. Lane ends. C. Lane ends. This sign indicates that the right lane ends ahead. A merging maneuver will be required for drivers in that lane. A pentagon-shaped sign is a A. Stop sign. B. Regulatory sign. C. School zone or school crossing sign. C. School zone or school crossing sign. A five-sided sign is used to alert drivers to a school zone. Some pentagonal signs specifically indicate crosswalks within school zones where children or other pedestrians may be present. When may you legally drive around or under a railroad crossing gate? A. Never. B. When you can see clearly in both directions. C. When the warning lights are not flashing. A. Never. Do not go around or under any lowered gate at a railroad crossing. Once the gate is raised, do not proceed across the tracks until you can see clearly in both directions and are sure there are no trains coming. This sign means A. School crossing. B. School zone. C. Pedestrian crossing. C. Pedestrian crossing. This sign marks the presence of a crosswalk. Be alert to any pedestrians that may be crossing the roadway. What should you do if an emergency vehicle is approaching while displaying flashing red or blue lights? A. Pull over to the side of the road and come to a complete stop. B. Continue driving, but try to stay out of its way. C. See if you can reach your destination before the emergency vehicle catches up to you. A. Pull over to the side of the road and come to a complete stop. If an emergency vehicle is approaching from either direction while displaying flashing red or blue lights, you must pull over to the right curb or side of the road and come to a complete stop. Do not try to outdrive the emergency vehicle. Trucks' blind spots are A. Directly behind the body. B. On the immediate left of the cab. C. Both on the immediate left of the cab and directly behind the body. C. Both on the immediate left of the cab and directly behind the body. A truck's blind spots are much larger than a smaller car's blind spots. The driver cannot see your car behind their vehicle and you can't see what's happening in traffic ahead if you're driving too closely behind the truck. Whether you are driving behind or to the side of the truck, if you can't see the driver's face in their side view mirror, then they can't see you. When passing another vehicle. A. Pass the vehicle as slowly as possible. B. Drive at the same speed as the vehicle you are passing. C. Pass the vehicle as safely and as quickly as possible. C. Pass the vehicle as safely and as quickly as possible. When passing another vehicle that is traveling in the same direction as you, pass quickly to resume visibility. Return to your previous lane only when you can see both of the vehicle's headlights in your rearview mirror.